Are you nervous for your next retail pitch? Have you scheduled something with a retailer and you don't know what you're going to say? Oh my gosh! This moment is both exciting and nerve-wracking. How are you going to make sure this presentation is a home run? It could be your one chance. Now, I've got good news for you. It isn't ever your last chance. You can create an effective retail sales presentation faster and with more confidence when you purchase my Start to Sold pitch template. That's right, I created this pitch template just for you. I have met with so many brand owners who feel nervous about their presentation, and what is confusing is that they spend too much time wasted talking about the wrong thing. There are specific questions in the mind of a retailer when they agree to meet with you. They want to know the answers to specific questions. And when you're new, emerging, or a little out of practice, you forget what questions you must answer to be able to have an effective presentation. Here are some mistakes I see over and over and over again. Number one, talking too much about your history of your business and the reason why you decided to develop this product. Completely ignoring sales data, proof that your product could succeed in that specific store. Number three, forgetting to show pictures of your products. Oh my gosh, complimentary pictures of your products. These three mistakes right here will push you out the door. It's just like going onto a dating website and not having good photos and talking about your cats for hours on end and video games. You're putting your worst foot forward. Everything is about your first impression. You need to look professional. What things are a retailer completely scared about when they are meeting with a brand new brand? There are three things a retailer needs to hear to be able to be interested in carrying your product in stores. What do you think those three things are? While you're pondering it, let me remind you that every retailer you meet with is an employee of a retail chain. That means that person has a salary and bonuses. Those bonuses and their job reviews are 100% based on the performance of sales in their category. So for example, if I was the beverage buyer, that means I'm responsible for the sales of every single SKU in the beverage aisle. My boss holds me accountable with data, numbers on a daily basis. And when a brand does not supply the products that they promised, when customers complain and return them, do you know what happens to me in my job? I look embarrassed in front of my boss. It's humiliating. And on top of that, my category loses money. All the other products that were doing well and able to supply according to my purchase order, they're making me look good. But the brands that I take a risk on, those ones I have a possibility of actually losing my job, losing face, losing total dollar value in my category. These are the concerns that a kind, loving retailer, good person has, is they need to be defensive. So your best interest is to answer those pain points, those fears, those worries, and address them fast. So now I'm going to come back to ask that question again. What are the three things that a retailer is really worried about? Number one, sales. Will your product sell in my store? I need to know the answer to that question because I'm risk averse. So much is riding on this decision, and you having a little bit of sales is not enough information to convince me to take products that are currently already selling on my store shelf, selling really well, and remove them, to take a risk on you. I need to know that at least your products are selling better than the products that are already on my shelf. And obviously, I'm not going to get rid of my best sellers. Why would I get rid of the winning team? I would get rid of the people that are on the bench, meaning the products that are not performing very well. So the truth of the matter is you need to prove to me that you will sell better than my worst performing products. Now, I'm not telling you to go and address that. You don't need to say that stuff out loud. It's just like going on a first date. You don't need to say, I want to get married right now to you. That is totally off-putting. But you need to be aware that this is the condition that some people are thinking about when they're meeting with you. So the best kind of date you can be is to be listening for the things that they want to hear and answering questions before they even ask them. Subtly, politely, professionally. So number one is sales. What's the second thing that a retailer is worried about? Trustworthiness, reliability, professional reliability. If a retailer takes a risk and buys your product and you are unable to fulfill a purchase order on time, exactly how they asked for it, what happens to them? Let's say, for example, their purchase order says that they allow for you to have 1 month to fulfill their purchase order, but then after that it needs to be within 14 days. And you don't. You can't. And it takes you 3 months to fulfill their purchase order. This person, this poor retail buyer, had planned, hoped, waited, put a placeholder for your products, and their shelf is empty. Their shelf is empty. And you know what that means? Lost sales, an ugly shelf, trouble from their boss. So the ability for you to meet the professional demands of servicing a retailer are very important. That means you need to prove manufacturing capacity, timeliness, proximity to where they are currently manufacturing. So for example, is your warehouse kind of close by to where they distribute? Are you set up currently to have enough inventory? Do you have inventory of the products that I'm looking for? What would be the lead time to manufacture that product if I placed an order? Are you already having your products in distribution with other distributors? These things are indications that I can trust you to manufacture and meet the demands of my store if you hopefully do really well. So we need to be professional, reliable, and address these fears and worries that maybe you are inexperienced in getting it over your head. So think through what needs to be said from your part to address those reasonable worries. And if you can't answer those things with confidence, let's just say you have a meeting with Walmart, and Walmart is a behemoth, world-class company, and you have no retail relationships. I'm not telling you shouldn't go on that retail meeting. Let's just have a little bit of perspective. It would not be a good match. You're both not ready. It's like going on a date when you're not yet fully divorced. You're not ready yet. You can go meet them, you can learn information, but you want to prepare to actually partner with retailers that are a better fit. Start smaller so that you can prove to yourself that you have the retail capacity to reliably fulfill purchase orders by retailers that are more matched to your size, and scale there. Scale like a little stair step to heaven, and trust that that part of the process will actually make you stronger, better, a better fit in the long run for Walmart in that future date. So what is the third thing that a retailer is worried about? Have you figured it out? We said sales, we said reliability, and the third thing is margin. A retailer needs to be sure that not only will the product sell, but that they will make enough money when they do that. And what does that really mean? Well, most retailers are going to expect to at least make around 50% of the total price that they are paying, meaning this universal concept of keystoning. So your total cost would be 2x to a distributor and 2x again to a retailer. Now that isn't an exact measurement. People ask me constantly online, hey, what margins are expected by Whole Foods, Walmart, Target, Costco? They're different. The answer is that retailers charge different margins, and you need to be prepared for that. Costco, for example, might want 15% in your category. Okay, again, not only are retailers different, but categories have different margins. In your category, Costco might want 15%. And you can imagine that people like Walmart and Costco, who are considered price leaders, meaning the cheapest price that you can expect on the market, they will want and require that whatever price you give them is the best, most affordable price, because otherwise they wouldn't want to sell your product. On the whole other hand, you might have Whole Foods, which would be expecting 50% margin. 50% margin! That's on top of their distributor price. It's usually about 40-45% depending upon your category, but there is a big, wide gap between these two retailers of 15% and 45%. So you need to keep this kind of thing in mind. Why? Why would they be needing that? Well, they provide more services. They also might request from you more promotional dollars. Both of these two examples of Walmart and Whole Foods have different distributors. So the distributor relationship contract that they have is based on the amount of service that they're getting. And so they might have a different charge on top of the margin that the retailer needs to charge. So let's just say it's between 10% and also 30%. You need to have a lot of space for a retailer to be able to make the money that it takes for them to provide the service that they're famous for. So you have to ask questions about it. Most people who I talk to want me to tell them, or want a retailer to tell them, this is the margin that we are going to take. But the God honest truth is it's none of your business. It's none of your business what the retailer can and will charge the product in the long run. Because if they want to charge 16% so that they make enough money to justify carrying your product, why should you care? The number one thing you need to worry about is making sure that all of your margin requirements are met. If you are making a healthy profit, a healthy margin on your product, which should probably be around 50% gross if you're a manufacturer, if you can make that, so 2x, what it costs for you to make it, 2x that should be about your wholesale price. And you'll need to keep in mind that a distributor will be additional charges on top of that to you. Or for example, if the retailer wants you to charge promotional dollars, they require you to pay $2,000 per year per SKU. Or they charge you $6,000 per SKU to be on their shelf. Or they charge you a $3,000 artwork fee. You need to incorporate and understand these costs up front so you can incorporate them into your price. And this price needs to be low enough that if a retailer chooses to double what you charge them, to get their margin, that they can still healthily sell that product. So it's sort of a backwards game where you should think through what you need to succeed. And hopefully that dollar amount also makes sense in retail. So I hope this gave you information from both ends, the average expected margin of a retailer and the cost on average of a distributor, so that you can go this direction. And you should also be calculating on your side, figuring out to make sure that you have enough margin to get here. But after you've done that, it really is up to the retailer on what they want to charge. So you can ask them these questions. You can ask them, what does your distributor charge? What's the fee so I can build a good price for you? What promotional requirements and investment are you going to require from me to carry my products in store? So you can ask those questions in your retail meeting and they'll tell you. But if they refuse to tell you what margins that they need to hit, it's because they kind of want you to give them just the best price. So focus on figuring out what you need to survive and thrive, and then let the retailer make as much money as they want. If they can sell it, they deserve it. So as we've gone over these things, do you feel prepared to make a presentation to successfully pitch to a retailer? If you're not sure how to present the answers to those questions in a professional way, perhaps you should purchase my template. This template includes 14 slides that are required, in my perspective, to successfully answer those questions in a professional way. The template comes in 3 different variations. So when you make a purchase, you can pick 3 different ways of presenting the same information. You download it, you get 2 different instructional files. One that is the user guide, and it reminds you very quickly, hey, when you get a template, save it. Make sure that you edit the colors and the font so that it matches your brand and looks very pretty before you edit the content. So this is like presentation 101, but a lot of people forget it. So there's a user guide. You read that first. Then there's instructions, slide instructions, written instructions that go slide by slide and tell you what information needs to be presented here. So it's giving you questions so that you think through what else you could put on this slide. It's explaining the general purpose and objective of this slide. So that way you have the power to customize it and to reorder it if you really feel like it needs to be done that way. So in addition to those 2 PDFs, you also have a video where I'll give instructions and explain slide by slide verbally. So you have so much information to make sure that you can reorganize things. And lastly, of course, you have the actual presentations in 3 different various visual design layouts. These 14 slides have fake mock-ups from your logo brands, which is my fake beverage company. And you can take the photos that I put there and replace them with your photos. You can take the titles, which are literal, so it says something like customer pain point, and change that to say your customer's pain point, which maybe it's, thirsty, low sugar beverages wanted. That could be a cute, fun way of changing the title that still answers the same question, what is the customer's pain point? And there's lots of little places to change facts. So I give you examples of what I would put there if I owned your logo brands, and you put your information within there. It's super simple. Drag, drop, click, change it, customize it just for yourself. And of course, I offer it in Keynote and PowerPoint. This should give you everything you need to be able to prepare your pitch. And if you had any other questions, of course, you can always email me and my team. And lastly, once you've prepared your presentation and you've saved every variation of that up until the perfect one, you export that presentation as a PDF. And the very last thing you need to do is practice. If you're interested in practicing with a coach, you can of course sign up. We have Start to Sold trained coaches who can help you to practice your pitch as if you were speaking to a retailer. And we will be video recording that and giving that back to you so you can actually watch how you did, as well as giving you instructive feedback and notes on how to change both the visual design and the content and revise your presentation skills. So there's 3 categories that we will be doing reviews for you. It's visual design, content, and presentation skills. With that 1-hour meeting, you'll have the feedback you need to make sure that you are showing up, looking your best, professional, and ready for your perfect pitch. I hope that this pitch template helps you go faster from start to sold.